You sit quietly as the boy named Crow looks at you with his usual sluggish voice, asking if you're all set for money. You nod and he presses how much. You count in your head and tell him it's about 3,500 in cash, plus a bit more from the ATM. It's not much but enough for now. He smirks, reminding you it's not Christmas money from Santa. You agree, and he guesses you've been riffling drawers. You don't reply because he already knows. He tells you it doesn't matter. What's important is that you need the money, food, shelter. Everything will run out one day, and you need a plan. You answer that you think about it when the time comes. Crow repeats your words, weighing them in his hand. He suggests you might need a job, but he shakes his head. At 15, who would hire you? You blush but say nothing. He tells you not to worry, this is your life, and you've already chosen your path. All that's left is to set things in motion. He warns you though, if you want to make it, you need to toughen up. You say you're trying, and he admits you've gotten stronger. But your life has just begun, and there's still so much you haven't seen. Deep inside, you know you have to leave. You tell him there's no way around it. Crow agrees, though he reminds you that running away might not solve everything. Then, he tells you to play a game. You close your eyes and breathe deeply. He asks you to imagine a terrible sandstorm to clear your mind of everything else. You obey and soon the storm begins to take shape in your head. Crow explains that fate is like this storm, shifting, chasing you no matter how you turn. It isn't outside of you, it's inside. All you can do is step into it, closing your eyes and ears and walk forward step by step. You feel the storm surround you, pressing against your skin, threatening to swallow you. Crow places his hand on your shoulder, and the storm disappears. He tells you that to survive, you must become the world's toughest 15-year-old. These words carve into your heart like a tattoo. He warns you that the storm will cut deep and you'll bleed your blood and others' blood. When it's over, you won't even know how you survive, but you will emerge changed, no longer the same person who entered. On your 15th birthday, you make up your mind. You run away, travel to a far-off town, and live quietly in a small library. It may sound like a fairy tale, but you know it isn't. It's your life, real and unyielding, no matter how much you try to soften it.
Japanese literature has been influenced heavily by the Chinese literature, from the ancient period all the way to the Edo period, from 1603 to 1868, which corresponds to the early Japanese literature. Japanese literary works also revealed elements of Indian and later Western elements, but above all, they reveal a distinct style which has also greatly influenced both Eastern and Western literatures. Japan literature has been shaped by many influences. In the ancient times, it was influenced a lot by Chinese literature, like their style of writing and themes. Later, Indian ideas also appeared, especially in connection with Buddhism. When Japan opened up more to the West, Western style and ideas also mixed in. But even all these influences, Japanese literature developed its own unique style, and this style even inspired other countries. Japanese literature can be divided into four periods: the ancient, classical, medieval, and modern.
In the ancient period, Japanese literature was strongly influenced by Chinese writing. During this time, many works were written in Chinese characters, since Japan didn't yet have its own writing system. Important works include the Kojiki and Nihonshuki, which are records by myths, legends, and early history of Japan. Poetry also became important, and collections like Manyusho showed the beauty of expressing feelings in short poems. The classical period is often called the golden age of Japanese literature. This was the time of the Heian period, where writing and kana Japanese syllabary started. Current novels, especially women, wrote famous works. For example, The Tale of Genji by Murasaki Shikibu is considered the world's first novel. Poetry is also flourished, and diaries and essays were popular, like the Pillow Book of Seiya Shonagon. This period showed elegance, beauty, and the refined culture of the Heian court.
In the ancient period of Japanese literature, most writings were about myths, legends, and the origin of Japan. People back then wanted to explain where their land, culture, and tradition came from. From example, there are stories that say the islands of Japan were created by the gods using their swords, and from this came the beginning of the Japanese world. Writers of that time also started to record these stories in books so they would not be forgotten. Some well-known works are the Kojiki and Nihon Shuki, which talk about Japan's early history and mythology. Poetry also began to grow during this period, with collections like the Manyushu which show the emotions and thoughts of people in simple but beautiful poems. The ancient period is important because it gave Japan its first written records of history, religion, and culture. It helped shape Japanese identity by preserving their myths and early experiences in writing.
History and literature were intertwined during the medieval period due to the influence of the civil wars and the emergence of the warrior class. Those war tales are very prominent during this period. Beside war stories and tales, the popular form of Japanese poetry, the ringa, saw its rise. The classical period of Japanese literature happened during the Heian period, which is often called Japan's golden age of culture. At this time, the Japanese court life was very elegant and refined. A people expressed their feelings and daily experience through writings. One of the most important works from this period is the Tale of Genji, written by Murasaki Shikibu, a lady from the imperial court. This book is very special because it is considered the first novel in the world. It does just tell a story. It also shows people in the court live, what they valued, and how they thought about love, beauty, and relationships. This period is remembered for its diaries book and stories that highlight the grace and sophistication of the Heian aristocracy. It shows us for how literature became a way to reflect life and culture in Japan.
In the medieval period of Japan, literature was greatly shaped by the events of the time. This was when the country experienced many civil wars and the rise of the samurai or warrior class. Because of this, a lot of the stories written during this period were about battles, loyalty, and the life of warriors. This work showed about the bravery and the struggles of people living in a time of conflict. Aside from war tales, another important development in this period was Ringa poetry. Ringa is a type of linked verse poetry where different poets take turns adding lines to create one long poem. It became popular because it was not only a form of art but also a way for people to connect and share ideas. Truth writing. So medieval Japanese literature is important because it reflects the challenges of a society in war, while also showing how people still found beauty and creativity through poetry.
Modern Japanese literature can be divided into two stages, early modern and modern. In the early modern period, which took place during the Edo era, new literary forms became popular. This was a time when kabuki drama developed, giving audience exciting performance filled with the action and emotion. Another famous form was the haiku, a short style of poetry known for its simplicity and deep meaning. These were also books called yumihan, which focused more on the story and text rather than picture or illustration. Later come the modern period beginning in the Meiji era, when Japanese started opening to the West, writers and influenced by Western style and ideas. So, Japanese literature started to include new kids of novels, play, and essay. This mix of Japanese tradition with Western influence created a fresh and unique way of the storytelling. So, modern Japanese literature is important because it shows both a creativity of Japan on culture and how it's adapt and grow by learning from the outside world.
In the modern period, Japanese writers began to explore new ways of writing. They no longer focus only on traditional form but also experimented with different genres in them, such as romance, social issues, and even the struggle of ordinary people. This shows how literature was changing to reflect the experiences of the time. The Second World War had a big impact on Japanese literature. Many writers praised the pain, loss, and struggle brought by the war. But even after this difficult period, Japanese literature slowly regained its strength and unique style, showing resilience and creativity. Some well-known modern Japanese authors include Yasunari Kawabata, who became the first Japanese Nobel Prize winner in literature; Kubo Abe, known for his thought-provoking stories; Takehiko Bayashi, who wrote about the struggles of workers; and Haruki Murakami, one of today's most famous Japanese novelists. Their works reflect how modern Japanese literature blends tradition with fresh, innovative storytellings.